Hey, Miller, you want me to drive?
No, I'm fine. I can't believe how long it took us to pick up our prisoner. And speaking of that, why don't you check in with dispatch?
Good idea. Dispatch, this is Unit 252.
Go ahead, 252.
We picked up our prisoner south of Santa Fe about an hour ago, and we are en route to the Rio Arriba Detention Center.
What's your ETA?
Just after midnight.
Then 4.
So, how's our passenger doing anyway?
Pratt. Hey, Pratt. He's out like a light.
I don't see how he can sleep in handcuffs like that. Yeah, I guess these criminals just get used to it after a while.
Not Pratt. This guy's a college graduate.
You know, that's what I heard. Kind of makes you wonder. Here's a guy who's doing great in a career as an animal doc at the zoo, and then suddenly he starts lighting fires? What turns a guy crazy like that?
I have no idea. But he started several fires and wasn't caught right away because he kept using fake names and posing as different people.
Oh, no!
What's going on?
We've got a blowout!
Oh, great. That's just perfect. Now we're really going to be behind.
All right, I'm just going to pull over here and make a quick tire change. You keep an eye on Sleeping Beauty and give dispatch a call, all right?
Dispatch, this is Unit 252. Dispatch, are you there? Pratt!
What's going on?
Pratt's making a break!
He's already disappeared into the night.
Pratt!
I'm going after him. Call for backup.
Yes, sir!
Hank Pratt has just made an escape 60 miles north of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Will the sheriffs be able to catch him? To find out, stay tuned as Creation Works presents Jonathan Park and the Mysterious Stranger. Early next morning, a construction crew continues their work at the Brennan Ranch in Abiquiu, New Mexico.
Martha! Angela!
We want to show you how far along they are. Come on.
Kendall, did you see they've already got the framing done in the entryway?
Yeah, Jim. If they keep this pace up, our museum's going to be done ahead of schedule.
It's really taking shape.
Come on up.
Jim, what are you doing?
It's your invisible door, milady.
I noticed it matches the walls.
Well, they'll be up pretty soon, Martha. Hey, what do you think, Angela?
So this is going to be the lobby.
Yep, and right through this door is going to be the museum bookstore.
Hey, guys, watch your step. My saw's laying right there.
Sorry, thanks.
Well, what about this room?
This is where we'll give them a little taste of the hidden cave.
And then they'll be able to head right out this door, down the path, and take a tour of the real hidden cave.
Exactly. And speaking of heading down the path, there's the kids right out there.
Oh, man, they sure have been working hard around here.
Hey, guys, how is it going?
We're doing fine.
Lunch will be ready soon.
All right, Jesse. Your mom fixes the most awesome meals.
Eddie, you've been talking about lunch ever since breakfast.
I have not, Mike. It was at least 10 minutes after breakfast.
Look, guys, we need to keep working.
Thad, what else do you want us to do?
Timmy, how about that trash over there in the bushes?
That's right, Thad. Keep your little brother on track.
Jonathan!
Yeah, I will. That's my job as leader of the Eagle's Nest gang.
Hey, guys, look at this. There's a cool-looking backpack in the bushes.
Whoa. I wonder who it belongs to.
I don't know, but I bet it's the same person who owns that sleeping bag.
Guys, I don't want to sound paranoid, but I think someone's still in it.
He's right.
He's still trying to sleep.
Who are you?
My name's Nick Williams. I didn't have anywhere to spend the night. I hope it was okay to crash here for a little while.
I guess so. My parents own this ranch. I think we better introduce you to them.
Hey, we're just about to have lunch.
Well, I'm not here to impose, but maybe I should explain things to your folks.
Come on, Mason. The chief deputy wants to see us.
I'll bet he's not in a very good mood.
Come in, gentlemen. Take a seat.
Good afternoon, sir.
Miller, let's quit with the pleasantries.
Sir, if I could just explain...
No, you may not. The fact is, you two lost a prisoner.
Has there been any word on his whereabouts?
None yet. Remember that Pratt usually takes time to engineer elaborate plans before setting a fire. That may buy us a little time. He's also an excellent actor. Hank Pratt is a dangerous man.
So, Nick, I think you've met everyone except our son, Ryan.
Hi.
Hello. Nick, I take it that you're not from around here.
No, sir. I'm from Tennessee.
Are you homeless?
Ryan!
Son?
Well, no, it's okay, Mrs. Brennan. Yes, Ryan, I am homeless right now.
Well, that's awful. What happened?
Well, Mrs. Park, I had a wonderful job and a house. That is until I had a really bad break. I lost my home. Out of discouragement, I turned my back on the Lord, and instead of trusting Him, I made some bad decisions and lost everything.
So, Nick, you're a believer.
I sure am, but I just haven't trusted the Lord like I should.
Nick, what do you do in Tennessee?
Well, I'm a zoologist by training.
Did you used to work at a zoo?
No, Eddie. A zoologist isn't someone who works for the zoo. It's a scientist who studies animal biology.
So, what exactly did you do?
I worked for a large nature preserve in Kingsport. I was doing a study on the timber wolves that live there.
Cool, you study wolves?
Yes, I do. Wolves have always been a kind of a specialty for me. Well, as a matter of fact, Dr. Park, since you're a paleontologist, you'd be interested in knowing that a few years back I got to study the remains of a Tasmanian wolf in Australia.
Ah, those are the marsupial wolves.
You mean they carried their young around in a pouch like a kangaroo?
Yes.
I've heard of kangaroos doing that, but never wolves.
Well, Mike, there actually aren't anymore. Unfortunately, the last Tasmanian wolf died in the 1930s.
Well, I know you guys are building a creation museum. It seems to me that you should have a room that talks about convergent evolution.
What's convergent evolution, Dad?
Well, Jonathan, there are many cases of different types of animals that are very similar in some ways. And this causes a big problem for the theory of evolution.
Why is that, Dr. Park?
Well, Jesse, sometimes these similarities are found in animals that are supposedly evolved from two completely different ancestors. Evolutionists would say that they're not related at all, and yet somehow they are very similar. That's what they call convergent evolution.
Oh, and these wolves are a great example of this. I was studying the timber wolves in Tennessee, and they look very similar to the Tasmanian wolves that used to live in Australia. Now, both wolves birth live young like most mammals, but the Tasmanian was unique because of the pouch. And because of that, evolutionists say that these two wolves came from completely different ancestors.
So are they saying that evolution made a wolf 2 different times?
Yes, and that's what's so ridiculous. Evolution, as we know, is completely impossible. But when it comes to convergent evolution, it's like impossible times 2.
Wow, Nick, what an interesting study you've done.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Mrs. Brennan, for the home-cooked meal.
You're welcome.
I should probably be on my way.
Where are you headed?
Well, I guess I'll just keep on going down the road. I'm determined to get out to California and get a decent job and maybe find a good church so I can get my life back on track.
What's in California?
Oh, well, I was working my way through school. I did a lot of carpentry. I thought with all the construction out in California, maybe I could pick up a job and see if the Lord leads me back into zoology. I'm gonna go get my stuff so I can get on my way. Y'all have been more than kind.
Do you know where you're going to be spending the night?
I have no idea, but I'm gonna trust that the good Lord has a plan. I'll be right back to say goodbye.
He seems like a nice guy.
It's so sad that he doesn't have a place to live.
What if he's some psycho that's just looking for his next victim?
You know what? You're right, Eddie. What if he's been tracking you down?
All right, you guys. I think the adults need to talk for just a few moments.
All right, Eagle's Nest gang, are you ready to get back to work?
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, what do you think of our mysterious stranger?
Well, he seems like a nice guy that's really been through a lot of hard times.
Yeah, if he's really who he says he is.
Yeah, Martha's right. We don't know who this guy is. However, he does seem to know a lot about creation.
I'm wondering if we shouldn't let him stay here for a while. He does need the money. Maybe the Lord is giving us an opportunity to help Nick get back on his feet.
Yeah, I guess. I just think we need to be careful.
Well, I suppose he could sleep in the barn. I just hope that... Hello?
I just came back to say goodbye.
Nick, come on in here for a moment.
Well, sure, Mr. Brennan.
We'd like to offer you a temporary job and a place to spend the night. Would you be interested?
Oh, boy, would I?
There's going to be a few rules, all right?
Why don't you sit down and we'll discuss our arrangement?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, here we are, the Brennan barn.
Nick, I'm sorry that we're putting you out here, but with all the kids here this week, we've run out of rooms.
Well, I'm just feeling so fortunate to have a place to stay. And besides, this old barn doesn't look half bad.
Well, it's actually brand new. We lost our old one in a huge flood that swept our ranch about 3 years ago.
We lost our workshop, too, but we haven't had time to rebuild it yet.
That must have been some flood to wipe out both the barn and the workshop.
Yeah, well, actually, someone burnt down the workshop.
It was burnt down?
Yeah, it was arson.
Well, that's awful. I just don't understand people who light fires on purpose. Hey, what are those?
Oh, those are our first attempts at making some of the museum displays.
Oh, wow, these are great. Oh, I see. This is describing the Coelophysis dinosaur fossils that you're finding at Brennan Bluff.
Right now, they're just prototypes of the kind of displays we'd really like to make. Kendall and I have just been tinkering around. Neither one of us really has the ability to make them good enough to be the real thing.
No, but with a little tweaking, they wouldn't be half bad. Well, it looks great. I sure appreciate staying here, and I feel like it's an honor to be a part of this museum project.
And, Nick, I really appreciate your stand on creation.
And it was fascinating to hear about those wolves you've been studying and convergent evolution. I had never heard of that before.
Well, in my opinion, convergent evolution is so unbelievable that it should convince people that the whole evolutionary story isn't true.
Like the wolves?
There's even better examples, like flight.
Flight?
From an evolutionary perspective, flight had to evolve at least 4 different times.
Why 4 times?
Well, think about it. Pterosaur reptiles learn to fly, as well as birds, bats, and insects. Yet, according to evolution, these creatures are all so completely different that they're not even related to each other.
That does present a problem for evolutionists.
Well, it sure does. They believe that flight evolved 4 separate and distinct times. But with all the precise characteristics needed for flight, think of how impossible it would be for it to evolve just once.
That's true.
Well, just think about how incredibly birds are designed. Their feathers are very strong for their weight. They have powerful wing muscles and hollow, flexible bones. Well, and that just describes some of the amazing engineering we see in birds. But we could also talk about the same thing when it comes to the flight of pterosaurs, insects, and bats. Each one has their own unique way of flying.
So the odds that flight could evolve only once is completely impossible. But to say that it happened 4 different times is, well, utterly silly.
Exactly.
Well, Nick, that's pretty interesting.
Well, I think we better get some sleep. Let me know if you need anything else.
Oh, no, I think I'm good.
Well, breakfast is at 9.